right, thank you so much for staying with us on News Hub. And from River State, now let's take a trip to Anambra State, where some would say it is on. On Monday, there was a release by Governor Soludo, the governor of Anambra State, which restated that the presidential candidates of Labour Party LP Peter Obi cannot win the presidential election in 2023. And this he puts across through an article titled History Beckons and I Will Not Be Silent. It says part one, which goes to say that he intends to release such articles, in parts. And so one wonder if he dropped such a bombshell, article one, what would happen in subsequent articles. And since then, we've been getting reactions from stakeholders, especially from the geopolitical zone, the Southeast, and others around, especially those who are, supporters of Peter Obi, who are otherwise called the Obedience, as well as sociocultural organizations within the southeastern part of the country, coming out to really condemn the pronouncement by the governor of Anambra State. So the big question is, why would he say that? If he even had such, up his mind, why would he say to a kinsman? But of course, Soludo belongs to ABGA and the PDP, that's under the platform which the former governor also was able to do a lot of things in that state. Now, let's take a look at what associations around, groups and interested persons, stakeholders, as I always call them, are trying to really fix, how they're trying to fix the situation ahead of the 2023 general elections. Joining us this morning to take a look at this, which is, of course, the feud between the governor of Anambra State, Soludo, as well as the candidates of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, is the Secretary, Igbo Elders Consultative Forum, Professor Charles Nwekaku. I hope I got your name correctly, Prof. Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Yes.
I did. Yay. That's so nice.
You do. Thank you so much.
Thank you too.
Yes.
One Nigeria all the time. Thank you for joining us on the show. I just wonder what is going on in the mind of people who support Peter Obi, especially those who don't even necessarily do, but who are from the southeastern part of the country, to hear a kinsman say something they feel does not augur well with another kinsman who's trying to lead the country. So tell us once again, what's the stand of your group on the ongoing feud between Governor Soludo, Soludo, as well as Peter Obi, who's the presidential candidate of Labour Party?
Thank you so much. I want to thank you for this wonderful opportunity you provided for me. Well, Igbo Elders Consultative Forum has not formally deliberated on this, but we have a platform and a number of them have commented. And so all of them, no person is happy with what was attributed to Professor Charles Soludo, the governor of Anambra State, and what he wrote. Because first was an interview, and later it was followed by what I would call a treatise he entitled Part 1. So no person is actually happy, and it is worrisome that that should come from the governor of Anambra State, where Mr. Peter Obi comes from. Incidentally, we really don't know what he said, but as a citizen of Nigeria, he has the freedom of speech, so it's part of his fundamental human rights to air his view on anything. But in this case, many Nigerians were alarmed at what he said. We do not share his view. Number one is that he is today governor of Anambra State. if not for Mr. Peter Obi, he may not have been, it wouldn't have been possible for him to be there, because Peter Obi was the first governor produced by APGA. It was Mr. Obi that secured that mandate and maintained it. Otherwise, then Soludo was serving a PDP government at the federal level as the governor of Central Bank. So it was through the effort of Peter Obi who secured the mandate. And even when he was impeached, he fought through the judiciary, through the normal process, and regained his mandate. It is that very mandate that Professor Charles Soludo is enjoying today. So if Mr. Obi didn't do anything, that very mandate, without Obi, you wouldn't have had APGA, governor in APGA today. So that is one. Two is that if you go to Anambra State, before Peter Obi came into power as the governor, the educational system of Anambra State had almost collapsed. The young men were taken to business. But when Obi came in, he revitalized the educational system. And today, Anambra State comes first in most of the educational competitions. If you go to GCE, you see the handprint of Peter Obi. You go to JAM, you see. And 3 years ago, there was a global competition among secondary schools. I think Techno Expo. And in that competition, students from Anambra State, Regina Apache, if I remember precisely, came first, beating Japan, beating Germany, beating USA, beating Britain. That was the handwork of Peter Obi. So 2 years ago, there was a competition organized for teachers in Africa. Anambra State came first. So these things are verifiable. You go to Anambra State today, the road network, Anambra State has the best road network in Southeast. Peter Obi contributed immensely. I know that Chris Ngige, while he was there, led the foundation. But Obi consolidated on that and maintained that. Now, if you go to today, Anambra State could boast of being the first state to produce indigenous car manufacturing company in this Innocent Motors. Peter Obi promoted him. Peter Obi gave him a contract when no other person could patronize him and paid him. He today, products of Innocent Motors are everywhere. You also see that as governor of Anambra State, Peter Obi equally encouraged Zanos Computers, gave him a contract, patronize him, and remember, Leo Eke is not from Anambra State, from Imo. So he wasn't discriminatory. So Peter Obi has promoted manufacturing. He has promoted job creation. He has promoted education. So for any person to come and say that Peter Obi didn't do anything, I don't think that person, I think that person was economical with truth.
Expectedly, of course, I read through a couple of releases by your group as to why you feel is the time for the Southeast to produce a president. In fact, in one of them, your group did mention that it will feel not wanted in Nigeria if 2023 presidency eludes them. That was actually published this day newspaper about 6 months ago. Now let's talk about where two children seem to have, a quarrel, or they have misunderstanding between them. It is expected in the parts of the world, in Africa, that the elders should wade in, maybe not necessarily taking a stand openly until when they've been able to try to reconcile the concerned parties. Has your group made any move to see how you can, mediate between these two gentlemen, the sons of the soil, to see how you can see what's going on between them and bring peace?
Yes. Well, to the best of my knowledge, they are not having any formal quarrel. The elders, yes, are talking with them. I also know that Mr. P2B has visited him and informed him that he was contesting for presidency. I also know that in his write-up, he mentioned that he advised Mr. P2B to come back to Apoga and join Apoga, probably to organize Apoga, so that maybe in the next 4 years, Obi and this one, they will contest. So the Igbo Elder Consultative Forum, as far back as May this year, issued a warning asking every Igbo son and daughter not to do anything to truncate the possibility of Southeast zone producing the next president of Nigeria. Even the elders invoked a curse on whoever would do that. And so our elders are not taking it lying down. We are not happy about it. It is the turn of Southeast to produce the president of this country. And not just that, at the time other regions are supporting us, you know that Afeni Ferry has consistently come out and said that it is turn of the Southeast. You saw that Pandel has come out and said it is turn of the Southeast. Middle Belt Forum has come out and said it is turn of the Southeast. Ohanes Zendibo has come out and said it is turn of the Southeast. And remember that the Southern and Middle Belt Forum recently met, assessed the candidates from Southeast and the entire South, and decided to say that they are supporting Mr. P2B. So for any, even before then, the Southern governors had also come out and said that it's the turn of the South. And so for any person to come now, and say that P2B did, P2B that, P2B has been assessed by various groups and found worthy to be the next president of Nigeria. And that's why we are supporting him. So Soludo has his entitled to his personal opinion. He hasn't spoken for the Igbos. He hasn't even spoken for Anambra State. Incidentally, two of them are from Anambra State. Their two communities are very close. So the Igbos are not happy about that. We don't want to wash our dirty linen in the public. We are reaching out to them, and I believe that something will happen. But we are not, as I said before, Professor Soludo is entitled to his opinion. This is a democratic society. And so, but Igbos are not happy about that. But I'll tell you one thing.
Prof, I have to come in at this point in time. There will still be enough time for you. I'm sure there are other things you want to talk about. Most possibly, they're in tandem with the questions that we have prepared already on the show today. The Electoral Act 2022 really guides against ethno-religious sentiments when it comes to campaigning and other sides of what comes with political season, so to speak. If you want to be very neutral and you want to look, for instance, as a united country, it would seem to say that it is all for your group, all about a Southeast president of Southeast extraction, rather than the best man emerging president in 2023. Am I right?
I'm not. No, I didn't get you. I didn't get you right. Hello?
Okay.
Hello.
Did you get me?
Yes, go on. I didn't get you right. Please, can you repeat what you said? Okay.
In case you didn't get me, let me come over it again. I'm trying to say that all the campaigns that we've had so far, of course, you find religious sentiments being pushed here, ethnicity playing a big role. The discussion we have this morning is around ethnicity. You've mentioned, your group also has said that it's the turn of the Southeast to produce the next president. My question is, has it ever occurred to the group that, well, maybe we should set aside sentiments which has come with the ethnicity or region and push for the person that is best for the job?
Good. Thank you so much. Well, it is not the issue of primordial considerations, if it is what you mean. In the first place, the Constitution of Federal Republic of Nigeria, Section 14, subsection 3, states that in order the government of the Federation and its agencies should reflect federal character in whatever it does in order to give every section a sense of belonging. But beyond that constitutional provision, you are talking of Southeast, you are talking of Igbo land, the people who fought civil war for 30 months, produced the tools they use, produced the weapons they use, the only people that have produced interballistic missile in the whole of Africa. So you are talking of quality, you are talking of competence. Look, after the war, the people of the Igbos had nothing. It doesn't matter the amount you had in the bank, you take only 20 pounds. But go and see where the Igbos are today. So if you are talking of a group that believes in competence, you talk of the Igbos. So we are not saying just that because P2B is from Southeast. P2B is the most qualified and competent person. I've told you what he did in Anambra State. He promoted the manufacturing of indigenous car. He promoted the production of indigenous computer, Xenos computer. He, through his efforts, the educational system is working there. And we are saying that Nigeria is in a comatose. It needs somebody of that caliber, a person of that competence, that is a man that has vision, a man that can create. It needs somebody like P2B to change Nigeria. Nigeria is like a trailer that has lost brake and can crash anything. It requires a humble, a creative, a visionary, a competent person like P2B to reverse Nigeria. So what we are saying, it's not just because P2B is from Southeast. P2B is highly qualified, most competent among other aspirants. Have you seen it in Nigeria before, where other ethnic groups are recommending a candidate from a particular zone? It hasn't happened in Nigeria. Look at, for the first time, Afenifere that represent Yoruba, Pandev, South-South, Middle Belt Forum for the entire Middle Belt, Ohaneze, from 4 zones recommending P2B. You also see that in different parts of the country, while other candidates are sharing money, borrowing money, people are donating for P2B. People are doing the campaign. You can see support groups springing up every day. They are using their personal money to see a change in Nigeria. Supporting P2B, it has never happened in Nigeria. So any person telling you about his sentiment, that person is economical with the truth. And in any way, you are talking of USA, you are talking of Britain. These countries you are referring to, they part the stage of Nigeria. In their countries, primordial consideration do not play much role. But even at that, in America, you find out that they have a formula that tries to accommodate the blacks. So in other places, they have something like that. And even in Nigeria, you are talking of, when it comes to admission, you refer to federal character. When it comes to competence, you go to federal character. When you go to other things, you go to federal character. But when it comes to presidency, people try to jettison it. So we are not sincere to ourselves. So P2B is highly competent. He is a product of Southeast. And we are saying that that product is the best among the competing products.
Okay, Professor Charles.
By merit, he should have it.
Okay, if you can hear me. Now let's break it down as Nigerians. Maybe set aside our ethnicity for once. What are those things you're most worried about in the present day Nigeria that you like fixed when the next administration takes off, or even before then, by this administration, and then when the next administration takes over in 2023? What are those perhaps 3 key things that you, as a Nigerian, regardless of where you are from, that you're looking forward to?
Yes. Number 1 is our educational system. Education produces manpower that actually man the other sectors of the economy. So our educational system is in comatose. we want a president that will reverse the educational system of Nigeria so that our graduates will no longer be job seekers, but job makers. And so that is one. Two, security. The security has increased in Nigeria because the economy has collapsed. We are not producing anything. We import everything. And so when we start producing, when we start manufacturing, then you have job creation. Now, when these people, when the youths are gainfully engaged, they won't have time to go into armed robbery, into kidnapping, and other social vices. It's because nothing is working. And the only way people can survive is by the use of the armed robbery, kidnapping, and other things. And so Peter Obi has demonstrated that in Anambra State. He revitalized Anambra State. He turned Anambra State. And as I told you before, look at what he did with Innocent Motors. Look at what he did with Zanos Computers. Look at what he did at the educational system. We want a person of his caliber to revive our educational system. And when he promotes productivity, when he promotes manufacturing, you see that insecurity will come to a manageable
if you can
situation.
Hear me,
because
Prof,
today, the government
obviously,
is
if you can hear me, Prof, one moment, Prof.
measures.
If you can hear me.
We want productivity. When we have productivity, if every sector begins to produce, you see that criminality will reduce to a barest minimum. And P2B is prepared to do that. The third one,
Prof,
is
in as much as, of course, it's very obvious you're supporting Peter Obi to win the election, no problem about that. But we want to bring it down to what an average Nigerian is looking forward to. And I'd like for you to respond to this based on you and what you would even wish for, even if you weren't, you know, if you're apolitical, as it could be, and you just want the best for your country. So I'd like for you to respond in that light for a bit. Then, of course, you take on the toga of your group from now till then. So you've mentioned education.
Thank you so
much. I'm waiting for the other two things you're looking forward to be fixed in the country.
Yes. Let me refer you. An idea, you want me to talk about an idea in Nigeria, what the incoming president should do. Now, let me refer you to Plato in his Republic. He said that in an ideal state, it's a state ruled by philosopher kings. Philosopher kings are people who are creative, intelligent, humble, and who see the state as their main task. So they don't need to pursue acquisition of material wealth and other things. That is how he sees. And in that society, education is the task of the state. State provides qualitative education for every person so that every person will develop his or her talent. That is what I want the new Nigerian to be. A Nigeria where every person will have a sense of belonging. A Nigeria where education will be functional. A Nigeria where people, graduates from educational institutions will be job makers, not job seekers. A Nigeria where people who are abroad will want to come home and feel safe. A Nigeria where our youths will stop running out. Today, Nigerian youths are moving in droves outside the country, looking for greener pasture, looking for safety. We want a Nigeria where people can sleep and close their two eyes. And we want a Nigeria where people can now go to their villages. Many Nigerians don't go to their villages today because of fear of kidnapping. We want a Nigeria where Naira will have value. Today, Nigerian Naira doesn't worth anything. We want a Nigeria where lecturers will be properly treated. In other societies, teachers are highly treated and appreciated. But in Nigeria, teachers, today, we are talking of paying lecturers half salary. No work, no pay. That is out of ignorance. Forgetting that lecturers are doing research. Lecturers are doing other things. Lecturers will still have to cover all those things that were lost. So you still talk of paying their half salary. It's in Nigeria that after training a professor for many years, you allow him to go abroad. After training a medical doctor for years, you allow him to go abroad. And we are losing what we have. We want a Nigeria where professionals will be recognized, where education will be prioritized, where production and manufacturing will be prioritized, where people will be busy producing, where government, state government and local government will start producing and no more running to Abuja every month to go and share, but they should produce. We want a Nigeria where every person counts. We want a Nigeria where you are not discriminated simply because of your where you come from or your religion. We want a Nigeria where people, competence will be the #1 thing. Is this person competent? Is he qualified? Can he deliver? That is the Nigeria of our dream. And that is what we want the incoming president to do. And we believe by the special grace of God, because I know that Mr. Peter Obi is the next president of Nigeria. He's going to do this. Nigeria will be better for all of us, including you.
You're still watching News Hub. We're taking a look at the road to 2023 with a very special attention to the governor Soludo's article. It put it as Article 1, and it's been written against the presidential candidate of Labour Party. It says he will not be silenced. That's Article 1. So many people would say that's an appetizer, while some are looking forward to what he would write next. Others are saying enough is enough. And that's what we're taking a look at. At this point in time, we'll take a very short break. When we come back, we're still with Professor Charles Wikaku, who's the Secretary, Igbo Elders Consultative Forum. Please stay with us.
Encounter unforgettable conversations. Coming soon.
You can now stream Silverbird News 24 live on mobile app. All you need to do is to download Silverbird News 24 app from Google Play Store on your Android devices and App Store, or on your Apple devices. Tap the live button at the bottom bar to watch us live 24/7. You can enjoy all our news programs, including Pidgin News and program. Silverbird News 24. The news never stops.
How much of technology do you understand?
I took a look at my LinkedIn and they said they didn't see, I can't forget the words, evidence of your work.
On Tech Hub, we help you understand how tech can impact your life.
Your phone and your SIM card is going to be a bigger asset.
With the power that we have with social media, with the digital space right now, you can be anything you want to be.
One of the other things we would see is that people would have more faith in tech companies.
And how much you can, through tech, impact your community.
The people who watch my videos, the people who see me and see what I represent, those are the people that I'm online.
Tech Hub is your one-stop platform for all things technology in Africa.
Tech Hub, for a smarter you.
Thanks for staying with us on News Hub, and it's still the road to 2023 on the show. This morning we're trying to address the Governor Soludo and Obi feud, as some would say. While some would say, well, a feud is supposed to be between two people. Peter Obi is not fighting anyone. Soludo has some things he wants to get off his chest because he feels he does not believe in the presidency of Peter Obi, who is the presidential candidate of Labour Party. In the studios in Abuja, we still have Professor Charles Wikaku, who is the Secretary of Igbo Elders Consultative Forum. Prof, once again, so nice to have you on the program.
Thank you so much.
Is the forum worried about what Governor Soludo may know, which Nigerians don't? And which could be the reason why he thinks he has some information to push out?
Yes, Igbo elders and the entire Igbos are worried. by what Soludo, what was credited to him. We were worried. But for some of us, we are not being disturbed. You see, when you see gold, gold passes through processes before it comes out clean as gold. And that is what Mr. Obi is passing through. So Mr. Obi is making waves. So what Soludo said was a mere distraction. You see, when something big is about to happen, things like that will happen. Even in the Bible, remember, when Nehemiah wanted to rebuild the collapsed state of Jerusalem, when he came back, he came with his resources and other things. Yeah, people like Tombala and Sambalat were opposed to that, but eventually he prevailed and rebuilt collapsed Jerusalem. P2B has come to rebuild collapsed Nigeria. And so there are a number of people who have been profiting from the collapse system. And so certainly those people should fight. And so we are not surprised. So, but the important thing is that he remained focused. The Igbos are worried, but a number of them are not disturbed because they know that they have confidence in P2B. They believe that if P2B gets there, P2B will not disappoint the Igbos. P2B will not disappoint Nigerians. Prof. And so he will get there by the special grace of God. Right, the road may be rough, but eventually he will get there. And Nigeria is looking for deliverance. See, let me tell you, why many people do not even take what he said serious. He was at the central bank. Soludo was at the central bank. After spending 4 or 5 years there, what tangible thing did he contribute, especially in his state? I've mentioned some of the things P2B contributed. Remember, Soludo was a member of the economic team, this present economic team. Exchange rate of Naira today, you know, now 800 and something. P2B also was a member of economic team when Jonathan was there. What was the exchange rate? I think 167 to $1. All right, Prof. This is a comparative analysis. P2B was a governor under Apuga, but the PDP presidency recommended him. You know what it means? So 2023 is going to be interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting, Prof. And that brings me to the next question. And it's not too far from the one I asked you just a while ago.
Go ahead.
Is your forum and other stakeholders worried that Soludo may possess some information that may be damning, especially to the presidential aspiration of P2B? Do you think he has some very classified information?
Well, I've told you that what he said is a mere distraction. There is no substance in what he said. We've looked at what he said. It cannot be substantiated. P2B left 75 billion there. How many governors have done that? He paid all the contractors. He not own any person. You say he did it. So people are laughing at him. So there's no substance in what he said. So we are not worried. But see it, we are not worried. We consider what he said as mere distraction because there's no truth in what he said. So it's not a classified information. It's not damning anything. We've looked at what he said. We looked at what P2B achieved. We looked at what he also achieved at Central Bank. And then we believe that, in fact, as a matter of fact, that thing should be cast at the dustbin of history.
Professor Charles.
There's no substance in what he said. We are not worried.
Prof, if you can hear me, you seem to be speaking as if Governor Soludo is also vying to be president. No, he's not. Of course, we all know he's the governor of Anambra State today. But it is Peter Obi, who's also the son of the soil, who wants to be president. And he says this is Article 1. And you are saying that everyone should discountenance that and not bother about it. But you know it's not that easy, Prof. I'm sure you know that. The people are always very curious when you give them a teaser. They want to know what is behind it, if there is more.
Yes.
And electioneering campaigns,
Yes.
as you know, you are elder, you know how it's always been,
Yeah.
that people are looking for
Yes.
loopholes that may really, you know, play against the opposition, so to speak. Are you looking,
Well,
you've said it, I asked this question earlier, but there's a reason I'm bringing it
Yes.
back again. Are the
Go on.
elders from within the Igbo, you know, circle,
Yes.
willing or are they trying to reach out to
Yes.
Governor Soludo? Because many people feel that you may not take it seriously. You may be asking people not to talk about it, but people think he does have some
Yes.
information. Bearing in mind that, of course, Mr. Obi is thriving on the back of people say, of all they have, they feel that he is a good
Yes.
candidate because of some
Yeah,
of the
yes.
things you've said, while some others say he is not really a saint like that.
Yeah. Yes. You see, what Soludo has said and written could be taken as part of the oppositions. Do you understand? But because Mr. Peter Obi is a good candidate, so it is normal to see oppositions. I can tell you that the Igbo Elders Consultative Forum is reaching out to him. Other Igbos are also reaching out to him. But I can also assure you that he will not write the Party 2. I can assure you that Charles Soludo will not write Party 2 because the kind of reactions he has received, I am not sure he expected that. He won't write the Part 2. But if he writes, no problem, we shall still look at it. But all these things will even facilitate the emergence of Peter Obi as the president. Because as he writes and the others, remember there are some like him before from the same Anambra state. So the truth is that Peter Obi is a material to beat. So when you see opposition coming from different angles, you should not be surprised. So the truth is that, remember, as I told you, in that his write-up part 1, he said that he invited Peter Obi to come and join APOGA. Apparently, to see that APOGA takes over the control of states in the southeast, to prepare a stage, maybe for him to do in the next election, so that by then he will now go and contest for presidency, because he's the leader of the party. As the governor of APOGA, Soludo is actually the leader of APOGA. So if Peter Obi should come and join APOGA now, and then they work on consolidating APOGA rule in the southeast, it means that in the next presidential election, Peter Obi and Soludo will contest for tickets. And as the leader of APOGA, Soludo will take. So that is by the way. So let's focus on what we've seen now. He has written part 1. I believe he's not going to write part 2. But if he writes, Nigerians will be there to accept whatever he writes.
All right.
So Peter Obi should not feel distracted. He should remain focused and go there. Nigerians are with him. God is with him.
All right,
and so
Prof.
Peter Obi, as I'm telling you, is the next president of Nigeria.
If he can hear me,
whatever any
Prof.
person can do about it, he will emerge president. He will emerge victorious.
If he can
People
hear
are campaigning for him. It has never happened before.
Prof.
It has
Charles.
never happened in the history of political history of Nigeria, where people in Kano, a Muslim donated a big building for people.
All right, Professor
and
Charles,
parts of the
let me
country.
come in at this
It has
point.
never happened. Nigerians want a change.
I think that's clear enough. And it's the optimism in your voice that you believe strongly that Governor of Anambra State, Shukuma Soludo, won't write Article 2. Only time will tell.
He will not.
Let's see how that will happen. Now let's go straight to the
He will not.
General
He
elections.
won't try that.
Campaigns
Yes.
are on. Different political parties are beginning to churn out the manifestos. There have been contacts between the public office seekers, especially at the presidential level, to really reach out to those whose votes they seek in 2023. What have you been able to make of how these electionary campaigns have been going on across the country and across party lines?
Well, fundamentally, what you call party manifesto in Nigeria is a mere article of faith. Remember in 2015, when this present government came up with a manifesto, they told us, number one, insecurity, they will challenge it, they will handle it. They told us job creation and the other things. Today, down the line, this is about 5 months to go. What has happened? So, political parties are not being guided by ideologies in Nigeria, and it is quite unfortunate. So, manifesto or no manifesto, and because of the role of the citizens in Nigeria, political actors take Nigerians for granted. We haven't come to a stage we hold them responsible to account. That is to, we haven't come to a stage where we hold political actors responsible to implement their manifesto. So whatever manifesto you are talking of is mere article of faith. There's no fundamental difference between what Atiku has presented and what Tinubu has presented. If there's any difference, it's that of Peter Obi that he said that he's going to focus on job creation. And that by the time he creates jobs in Nigeria, insecurity will go. He said he's going to reorganize the educational system. He said he's going to make every Nigerian to feel belong, give every Nigerian a sense of belonging. He's going to stop the issue of you are a Muslim, you are a Christian, you are from this place. He's going to give every person a sense of belonging. And he said,
let's face the.
I did that in Anambra State. I will do that in Nigeria,
which is okay. But we'd like to round off on the show today. How prepared do you think the electoral umpire INEC is to conduct the 2023 elections? And what faith, how much faith do you have in the electoral body?
Well, INEC has repeatedly come out and told Nigerians and the international community that it is ready to conduct free, fair, and credible election come 2023. And INEC has also come out and said that they're going to use BVAS this time around so that the issue of rigging will be reduced to barest minimum. And INEC has succeeded in getting the new Electoral Act signed into law, which now provides for electronic transmission of results from the polling booths. So from this, I think I commend INEC. Although there are some actions INEC has taken recently that worry some of us. For example, the recent staff reshuffle INEC did I think about in August, very close to the election, INEC reshuffled about 6 staff. We are not comfortable with it. We believed INEC was put under pressure to do that.
Why would you say that? Because it's what INEC would do normally.
That the election is smooth.
What was wrong in what they did?
Yes, INEC reshuffled about 6 or 7 staff, changing them, taking, for example, a director and then sending him to a state where he wouldn't have much to do. So we suspected that very reshufflement. And then a situation where some card-carrying members of a political party were nominated as INEC resident electoral commissioners. And, well, I wouldn't say I was surprised. Senate cleared them. So, to this extent, you found out that INEC, it may be difficult.
Bob, if you can hear me, I'd like for us to set the discussion in a proper perspective. Nomination of electoral regs is never done by INEC. It's done by, the executive and presented to the National Assembly for ratification.
Yes,
so please, you can go ahead from there. That's not the job of INEC to nominate anyone to work.
Wait, we are saying the same thing. You asked me about INEC. Those people that have been sworn in, they are resident electoral commissioner. They are not part of INEC. And some of them are card-carrying members of political parties. So that is part of the worrisome aspect of INEC. But other things being equal, we want to believe that INEC will do what it preaches, that is going to conduct a free, fair, and credible election come 2023. But remember that INEC depends on the government for a number of things. For example, INEC doesn't have security of its own. INEC, apart from not having security of its own, INEC depends on some other agencies to do certain things. INEC is not, doesn't control tribunals, electoral tribunals, and so forth. But INEC will do its best. Let's hope that the INEC best will be good enough for Nigeria, to give Nigeria that where every vote will count. That is what we expect INEC to do, that every vote of a Nigerian should count in determining who becomes the president, who becomes the governor, who becomes the senator. We want to give them benefit of doubt. We have no alternative. They said they would try. They've done some commendable, taken some commendable initiatives, and we wanted to sustain that. But we also pointed at the areas that are worrisome, like that reshufflement. It is our plea and desire that INEC doesn't reshuffle at this 11th hour again.
Okay, Prof. Professor Charles Nwekaku is the Secretary, Igbo Elders Consultative Forum. I want to thank you so much for joining us on News Hub today.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. It's amazing when you talk to Nigerians about what's going on and how they're able to perceive issues around them by concerned authorities, and how the personal interests, corporate interests, and other interests as it could be, could really determine how they view an issue. It's always interesting to find out how this thought process is deployed towards arriving at any decision or belief they would tend to actually hold dear to their hearts eventually while taking decisions. It's around politics or other interests. It's always very interesting. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for being part of News Hub today.